hold on. I I was looking for tea. Anyone see any tea? I I came down here with a towel and some wipes, and I somebody said some tea was going to get spilled. For the life of me, I can't find the tea. You know, there's an old country song, and the old country song is called "Did I?" I believe it's by Cherie Austin. It's called "Did I Shave My Legs for This?" And it's all about big expectations. It's all about, you got a big date coming up, or you got something big that's on the horizon, and then it turns out to be a dud, right? And you're like, did I shave my legs for this? Did I stay up late for that? How very poetic that the biggest reveal came from old Big Show Chokeslam Rekieta himself. I mean, it really is. It was a circus of retards. It was Gabe going, "Oh my God, I've got something crazy," and then it was Nick going, "Oh yeah, I chokeslammed my kid," and you're like, "What the?" And then Gabe gets on there and he goes, "I was bored and I just needed somebody to talk to. Really, you ever seen this anime? It's bananas, right?" Would you sponsor a NASCAR driver if you watched shit like that? I don't know. I'm rewatching Dexter. That's ill-advised. Um, Look, man, if you can't, I don't care who you like. I don't care who you don't like. If you can't find the comedy, if you can't find the humor in what happened yesterday, you're taking the internet once again way too seriously. There was one winner in the whole thing. There was one winner in the whole thing. People who got an adequate night's sleep. Those are the winners. And look, I think I really don't think Gabe Hoffman gives a shit what any of us think. I just don't. None of us give a shit. Or Gabe doesn't give a shit what any of us think. Gabe had this information. He dropped it, and then he went, "All right, bye." And then he enjoyed his millions and millions of hedge fund dollars. So I don't think Gabe is really hurt by this. Keanu got a shitload of viewers and a shitload of money, but then kind of got caught holding the bag. It's honestly, this was like Keanu's Hackamania or Keanu's 5-on-1, like in reverse. I see a lot of people like shitting on her, a lot of people getting on her. It's like she never said that she had big info. She never said that she was the one who had all this crazy information, except with the text thing. And I fell asleep before the end of the stream, so I don't know if the text thing ever happened. I don't know anything about the texts. But like Gabe said, "Oh, man, I've been doing investigation." I'm going to tell you something. The minute I knew the whole thing was like, the minute I started going, I think the chokeslam is the biggest reveal we're getting out of this. Because the chokeslam, I don't think it was a chokeslam, but the putting hands on the kids thing definitely happened. Like just the way he tells the story, and of course everything Nick's ever denied, he's ended up being guilty of. So I'm just following the pattern. The choking at the chiropractor thing definitely happened. But like that, I think was the biggest reveal. But the minute Gabe said, "I've been investigating this for a week and a half," I went, mm-mm. Like the minute Gabe went, "I've been investigating this for a week and a half," I'm like, this ain't going to be what people want it to be. This ain't going to be what people think it's going to, like they were thinking Blackfish, you know? They were thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to be loose change. This is going to be," and it turned out to be, you know what it turned out to be? Rekieta 101 for normies is what it ended up being. The problem with it was nothing the rest of us didn't already know. I mean, the two reveals he had at the end, like, in my opinion, clearly he talked to family members, because I didn't know either of those two stories were going to come out as a result of this. I'll say this, the one with the kids where some family friend said, like, they saw the hitting the kid or the putting hands on the kid. Not the chiropractor one. This is a different one that Gabe was talking about. If that was a family member, he said multiple. Each story, he said it was multiple sources. If that was a family member that saw that and like the whole family knows about that and Nick didn't have his legs broken after that, I'm disappointed in that family. If you've like, I know if it was, I don't even like my sister. Like my sister and I do not get along. If I found out that my sister had somebody in her life that did that to my nieces or nephews or just their kids, like if I just knew this person and they did that to their kids, you know, they would have had hands put on them. So I don't know where he got that information. And then the other story he talked about that we won't go too far into on this show, the other story he revealed, when I heard that one, I went, I didn't know that got out. Like I was basically like, oh, other people know about that one? Holy shit. Like the other one made me think, was he talking to, I honestly, when he told that story, I was like, was he talking to April? Like who got told about that one? But honestly, I think if you're someone who follows this shit, I think if you're someone who's up on this stuff and you know things, I think that, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys thought this was like some big like atomic bomb. I thought the biggest thing that came out of it was the stuff Nick told on himself about. I think that was the biggest one out of all of it. So, I don't know. I think Gabe oversold it to everybody. I think Gabe was bored. You know, the markets have been up and down, kind of boring. So Gabe's like, I'll look into some shit. I think Gabe should have sold it as like a normie tutorial. You know, when I was watching it, the thing I was thinking was, this would have been great as like a Turkey Tom video. Even the casino, I don't think the casino would have made that good. You know, I just don't think Gabe brought the heat the way he kind of sold it to be. I think Gabe kind of oversold it. And maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm being too critical of the whole thing. Maybe people are going to go, Aaron, you don't know. But look, man, I watched this. I'm removed from the situation. I ain't, when I talk about this shit, I don't talk about it as like, I'm in it. And I'm observing like you guys. I'm observing and reporting. I'm watching. I'm making jokes. I'm making fun of it. I'm talking shit. So I'm going to talk some shit. And the shit I want to talk today is that Gabe oversold that to everyone. It could have been an hour and a half video. But then then Nick told on himself. Honestly, like this would have been a huge Nick W. This would have been a huge win for Nick if he just, I said it on this show. I hate to say another win for the toe. I hate to say that I was right, but I got to call it like it is. I said, if you just shut the fuck up and address this after Gabe's done, it'll go a lot better for you. Now, Nick ends up snatching the defeat from the jaws of victory because he puts everybody onto the fact that there's documents out there showing that at the very least it was reported that he put his hands on his son at a chiropractor's office. Now, guess what people are going to be doing? They're going to be disappointed in the Gabe Hoffman interview. They're going to go searching for those documents if they don't have them already. Phil Herslit says, classic Kiki, boring and talentless. I just think, Keanu's a gossiper and a talk show like host type person. She's not producer, bring this up, play this, bring this up. That's not what she does. So Gabe kind of, I think, had her in the wrong role. Also, as a professional broadcaster, myself, as a classically trained broadcaster, I will say this. I got to talk to Keanu and I got to give her some shit. Like when we're looking for stuff, we don't need to go bing, 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 bang, 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 boom, 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 ding, 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 dung, 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 dee, dee. Like that's what do they call it? That's a verbal tick of discomfort because you're trying to fill dead air. Just like talk about whatever it is you're pulling up and that you'll be fine. But like every time, bing, 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 bang, bang. Also, I maybe should have helped. Like I maybe should have helped her because like one thing you do, and I've done so many interviews that it's like second nature. But when someone's sending you, and maybe Gabe sent it too close to the interview, when someone sends you a bunch of links and a bunch of stuff, what you got to do is you got to group them into separate folders or separate places that are titled based on the thing they are. So if they're about the Sophie Long? The Sophie case, Put all those clips in one folder, and then you can go get them, and boom, there they are. Bing, bing, bing. If they're about redo the healer or whatever that anime is, you group those together, you put them in a folder, boom, you can bring them up as soon as Gabe says, because Rush Limbaugh used to do that. He goes, Mr. Snerdley, play 701. And then 701 was ready within 10 seconds, right? Like Keanu, and then you got like new allegations, illicit clips, but just have them all ready to go. I think she had all of the stuff that Gabe sent her, and she had it all in one pile, and she had to search through all of it. Some people in the chat are saying the Gabe Hoffman thing was a cell phone for Nick. It was. Look at this. Nick got a cell phone. That's like, I hate being right, especially, well, I love being right when it's against a smug, delusional dick. But like, the advice I gave him was the perfect advice. Shut your mouth, see what he's got, and then respond. This would have been a 1,000% like quasi-Nick redemptive moment. Because again, the stock is so low that him not getting dragged away in handcuffs was a win. The bar is high for embarrassment for this fella, but he couldn't help himself. He had to rat on himself. He had to go, you know what they're going to do? They're going to find documents that are sealed right now that show that I beat my son at a chiropractor's office. And then it turns out Gabe never got that deep. Gabe didn't dig. It sounds like Gabe didn't dig at all. It sounds like Gabe read the farms and let people reach out to him. That's what it sounds like. So now I think the only thing that's going to fuck Nick up is there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be looking for these stories now, these records of, like Nick said. Because, like, if Nick's willing to admit to that one or admit that that one's out there, imagine the reports and the stories that aren't out there. Yikes. And I want to get the Rumble link Friday. But I also didn't want to not address it and then have people think, oh, Aaron's scared to address it. I don't give a fuck. I was going to talk about this. No matter what. Matter of fact, I think if it would have went worse for Nick, I would have talked about it less. I would have let other people bring it up, all that. But I think it's really interesting that it was kind of a dud. I think that's fascinating. I really do. Redbird with $1 says, how the fuck did you not pick up that his kids are terrified of him? It's blatantly obvious if children are around someone, they know will go hands-on and has a hair trigger. Dude, the guy was so fucked up when I was around him. He wasn't around his kids much. I mean, I was around him more. He just wasn't. I had one DM with the Keno Casino boys, and I don't know if they were pissed, but I got the vibe that they were disappointed.